This is the year you're gonna do it. You're gonna take these fresh tomatoes and turn them into tomato sauce. And I'm gonna show you just how easy it is to do. This is the time you're gonna make use of those tomatoes that you've let sit on your counter for too long. They've gotten almost overripe. You want the ripest tomato possible. That's gonna deliver the sweetest and best flavor. You'll know they're good and ripe when they're uniformly red all over. If you see some tomatoes that have a lot of yellow still on it, you've still got a long way to go before they're ripe enough for tomato sauce. I love just using some garden fresh tomatoes, or even just the Roma tomatoes, so the slicing or beefsteak tomatoes are fine, or a good Roma tomato. Sometimes these are a little bit sweeter, so whichever you prefer. For this recipe, we're gonna start with about 10 to 12 tomatoes, depending on the size. You wanna peel your tomatoes before you make tomato sauce. One trick to getting your skins to release a little easier is to make a little X in the bottom of your tomato before you plunge it into the boiling water. That's gonna help these release off and make them easier to peel later on. Let's get these in some boiling water. We're gonna drop these in the boiling water for just about a minute. The sole purpose of this is really just to remove the skins. It only takes about a minute, so we're gonna remove them from the boiling water and put them straight into an ice water bath. That's gonna stop the cooking and help them peel easier. You can see it's already starting to happen. Some of the skins are splitting. So this happens really fast, especially where we made that slit. Now let's peel and chop. At this point, you'll see just how easily the skins remove. No special tools needed, but the tomato flesh is still nice and firm. And now I'm just gonna chop these up and throw them right into a blender or a food processor and then puree it until it's nice and smooth. I'm gonna reserve a couple tomatoes to chop if you want your tomato sauce a little bit chunky. This step you could do even if you don't wanna make tomato sauce and put your tomatoes away if you're into canning, and then save them for when you wanna make tomato sauce or chili or something else down the road. I'm gonna reserve my chopped tomatoes for later and puree the rest. You'll see how much lighter this is in color than what a real tomato sauce looks like, but as it cooks, it's gonna darken. Also, we're gonna add some tomato paste later to help add that tomato richness. Now, let's turn this into tomato sauce. What we're creating is a very robust, veggie-forward tomato sauce. Starting with a couple tablespoons of olive oil. Into that, I'm gonna add in a couple tablespoons of butter. All that melted together. Once that's melted, I'm going in with my onions, carrots, bell pepper, and garlic. We wanna cook these veggies down until they're nice and soft. You want these veggies so tender that they almost melt into the sauce. You don't wanna eat a bite of sauce and take a nice crunchy bite of carrot. That's not what we're looking for. According to the recipe, this step's gonna take at least 5 minutes. I might go an additional 5 minutes beyond that, just until everything is nice and tender. The sauce is gonna simmer for a long time, so they'll continue to soften then, but you just wanna get that first softening stage happening right here. Our veggies have softened, and now I'm going in with the tomato puree, little liquid gold right there, and our chopped tomatoes. Again, if you don't want a chunkier sauce, you can just puree all of them. You can even puree it at the end if you want to. All right, a few more additions for flavor. A little bit of red burgundy wine, some Italian seasoning, good bit of fresh basil, 1 bay leaf, and a couple stalks of celery. We're gonna pull these out at the end. This is just gonna add some flavor. Once it's come to a nice boil, I'm gonna reduce the heat and cover it and let it go for about 2 hours. That flavor is really gonna get concentrated. This is gonna be so good. It is smelling oh so good in here. Look at this. You can already see how much the flavors have concentrated. It's nice and rich. Yum, yum, yum. Now I'm just adding in some tomato paste. This is gonna add a whole nother layer of depth and richness and really accentuate that tomato flavor. So I'm just gonna add this in right now and then let it simmer for just another couple hours. This is a low and slow, simmer all day kind of situation. As it has cooked, you can see that it's already started to kind of reduce, which means those flavors are really coming together and concentrating. I can wait no longer. She is a beaut. You can see how much it is reduced and concentrated. At this point, I'm gonna remove the celery stalks and the bay leaf and then it's time to serve it up or put it up for later. A lot of times this tomato sauce can be used as a base for other dishes, so the recipe doesn't call for salt and pepper at this point because you're likely going to season it later. I'm going to check and see what we need. It bursts with freshness immediately. It's delicious. It does need just a little salt and pepper just to bring that out a little more. Cook some pasta. You know I've got to try it first with a little pasta. First layer, and then I'm going to top it with a little more. Little cheese. My favorite way to sample though is with a little crusty bread. Two thumbs up, you've got to try this recipe. I'm also gonna put some in a jar. This will keep for several days in your fridge. You could go through the whole canning process and save it through the winter as well. Or you can put it in a freezer safe container and just keep this in your freezer for a few months. A delicious way for you to use up those summer tomatoes. I hope you'll give this recipe a try, and when you do, don't forget to tag me. I'm telling you, you just gotta do it this summer. It's the next thing on your bucket list. Trips, skydiving, homemade tomato sauce. See you next time. Cheap pants.